What's going on, guys? Elzoid here again. When I started YouTube, I couldn't find a video on the internet which walks you through the whole process of how to make a gaming video. What you're going to need, how you set it up, how you edit this stuff, and how you upload it online. So for me, there was a lot of trial and error. There was a lot of, trying things out, looking at different videos for different sections of the setup and different sections of the editing. But there wasn't one video that I could find which really walked through it all. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video, is walking through the whole process of how I make my YouTube videos. I'm not saying that this is the only way of doing it or the very, very best way of doing it, but this is how I do it, and for my setup, I feel this is the best way of doing it. So let's get straight into it. The first part of making a professional YouTube video is your equipment. You need some sort of equipment to be able to record and edit your footage. So the first thing you'll need is some sort of monitor, some sort of screen to be able to play your games on. Personally myself, I use a BenQ gaming monitor. It's 24 inch, I believe it's the RL2455HM model, but I will leave a link down in the description below where you'll be able to see that on Amazon if you want to go pick that up. That's exactly the one that I use. The reason that I use this, a small screen, you may say, why would you use a 24-inch screen to play games when you could use a 55-inch screen or something along those lines? The reason for that, I play a lot of first-person shooters, and you'll see that pretty much any pro player playing first-person shooters will play on a small screen. The reason for that is they can quickly look from one side of the screen to the other without having to move their head up from one angle to the next. You can just quickly move your eyes and be able to see everything on the screen. It really does help a lot, but that's what I use. I use a BenQ gaming monitor for playing my games. The next thing you'll need is a games console. Basically, there's a few options here: PS4 or Xbox One. They're the two most mainstream games consoles. Personally myself, I'm a PS4 player, but you can do exactly the same thing with this tutorial with an Xbox One. Absolutely no problem at all, but my personal preference is PS4. I've always been a PlayStation player since the PS2 days, and I've just always stuck with PS4. The next thing you'll need is a capture card. A capture card is what you use to basically record your screen of what you are playing. Again, there's a few options out there on the market, but my personal preference is this little thing. This is an Elgato HD60 capture card. Again, I'll leave a link down below if you want to go and pick one of those up. This is probably the most popular and widely used capture card out of all gaming YouTubers, I would say. This is the one that most of them use. In terms of quality, in terms of price, this is about as good as it gets right now. This thing can record 1080p, 60 frames per second. If you get the settings right, the quality is absolutely spot on. You will also need some sort of decent computer. You cannot do this really if you're going to be using a computer from 1998, which you had in your IT suite in your comprehensive school. You really need to have some sort of decent PC. You haven't got to go mad, you haven't got to have a full professional, thousands and thousands of pounds spent on a PC, but you have got to have something fairly modern, fairly decent. Personally myself, there was a local computer builder to me. He made me a PC based on what I told him I was going to be doing with it. I believe my PC has 16 gigabytes of RAM and a few terabytes of storage to be able to store all the video clips, and he charged me about £400 to do it, and that does the job just fine. So you need something fairly decent, but you haven't got to go crazy. Next thing you'll need is some sort of editing software to go on that computer. You're going to be able to record all this gameplay with your capture card, but to be able to trim it down and make it look professional, you're going to need to edit this stuff. You can just upload videos, of course, on YouTube of just raw footage, but to get that really professional edge of being able to overlay your face cam, maybe add a commentary or music, you're going to need to be able to edit it. So that is something you're going to need, is some editing software. If you want to record this face cam, you are going to need, again, some sort of camera to be able to do that. You can use your phone if you want. Some people use big DSLR cameras, but without going out and spending £1,000 on a Canon 5D or whatever it may be. Personally myself, I use the Logitech C920 webcam. That's exactly what's recording my face right now. It records in 1080p, does the job absolutely just fine, and also comes with a nice bit of software which makes it super easy to be able to record straight onto your computer. It links up to your computer by USB as well. I think for the money, absolute no-brainer. Again, there is a link down in the description if you want to go and pick one of those up. The last necessity that you're really going to need to be able to make a professional gaming video is an external microphone. You can't quite see it, it's just off the screen here, just out of frame, but personally myself, I use an Audio-Technica AT2020 microphone. Again, this is a USB microphone, it just plugs straight into your computer by USB. The sound quality is good enough without going absolutely crazy. Again, some of the top YouTubers are going to be using, studio sort of microphones and things like that, which are going to cost hundreds and hundreds of pounds. But the AT2020, again, is going to do the job just about as well as you'll need for the time being. So I would certainly recommend that. Again, it's a very, very popular external microphone, and like all the other items in this list, there is a link down below in the description for that. And the final bit of equipment, this is more of an optional extra. You have not got to have this to be able to make videos, but it depends, what sort of games you're playing. If you're going to be playing things like first-person shooters, maybe a Call of Duty or a Battlefield or something along those lines where sound is crucial, a nice thing to have is a gaming headset. Personally myself, I use the Sennheiser Game 1 headset. It is a wired headset, and personally, I really do rate this headset. It took a bit of setting up to get it, perfectly, linked up to be able to record. But I do rate it very, very highly. I think it does the job just fine. Okay, so moving on to the next part of this video, and that is setup. The first part of this setup is, of course, being able to play video games. So as you can see up here now, it will be the gaming monitor. You'll have a HDMI cable coming out of the gaming monitor going into one side of your Elgato HD60. There's another HDMI cable then coming from there and going into the back of your PS4, and then finally the USB cable, which is provided with the HD60, is coming out of the same end that is going into the PS4, and that is going out and into your computer. Next, we're going to take a look at the PC. On the PC, you're going to have 3 bits of software open. The first one is going to be called Game Capture HD. This is the program that comes with your Elgato HD60, and this is what you use to be able to record the screen. The next one is going to be Audacity. Audacity is a free program you're going to have to download off the internet, and this is what you use to be able to record from your microphone. This is what you use for your audio. And the final one is the Logitech webcam software. This comes with the Logitech webcam. You can get it off the Logitech website, and this is a great little tool, but this is what you use to be able to record and control your webcam. And of course, it goes without saying, for those 3 bits of software, for those 3 programs, you need 3 bits of hardware connected to your computer. The first one is the USB cable, which is coming from the Elgato HD60, which I showed you just a minute ago. The next one is the Logitech webcam, which again is just connected via USB. And the last is the external microphone, the AT2020, which again is just connected via USB. Okay, so we're all set up, your programs are open. Now it's time to hit those record buttons on all of those 3 bits of software and start playing your game. On those 3 bits of software, I pretty much use the default settings on all of them, which is really, really nice. I'll show you just up here now that you need to have PS4 selected on the Elgato software, and then also on the Audacity software, just make sure you've got the AT2020 selected, and then when you click Start Monitoring, I click my fingers a couple of times just to make sure it's registering, and you're away to go. The first thing I do after I've clicked record on all of those 3 bits of software is I clap 3 times at the very start. And what that allows me to do is to be able to line up the webcam and also the external microphone. But I'll show you that in the editing very shortly. So now it's time to play a game. Whatever you choose to play, whether it's FIFA 17, whether it's Call of Duty, whether it's Battlefield, could be Rocket League, could be absolutely anything. You can go now, play a game, kill it, enjoy it, talk about what you want to talk about, commentate, react, whatever you want to do. just be yourself, and once you are finished, once you've played your game, once you've spent enough time, it's then time to hit the stop buttons on all those 3 programs and you are done. So now we move into the edit. This is probably the most important part of creating a professional looking video. You can record absolutely fantastic gameplay, but if your edit is terrible, it can really spoil it. And again, you can really make someone look good or really make a video entertaining with a really good edit. So editing is very, very important. It's very, very time consuming. It's the bit that really probably frustrates most YouTubers. They spend, so much time editing these videos, but it's something, if you want to do this as a hobby or maybe even a job, then it's something you've got to get used to, and it's something you've got to really learn to enjoy. So as I mentioned earlier, you will need some editing software to do this. There are a number of different editing softwares out there, all ranging in price, all ranging in degrees of how good they are, how professional they are, etc. You've got Sony Vegas Pro, you've got Adobe Premiere Pro, you've got Final Cut Pro. The list goes on and on and on. You can even do it in some free programs as well if you want to start off with, but there's loads and loads out there. I would strongly recommend trialing a few of the different editing softwares out there to find what really suits you, to find what you get on with yourself, because these bits of editing software are not cheap. If you want to go out and buy Final Cut Pro, if you want to go out and buy Adobe Premiere Pro, you don't want to go buying it and then find out that actually I don't get on with this, I'm really struggling to use it. So I would strongly recommend trialing before you buy. When I was looking to get into YouTube, I again explored all different avenues. I tried loads of different editing software, Sony Vegas, Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro, again some of the free ones. I tried absolutely loads, read loads of reviews, and I narrowed it down to 2. And they were Adobe Premiere Pro and also Final Cut Pro. I really wanted to be able to get on with Adobe Premiere because I run a Windows PC. You cannot run Final Cut Pro on a Windows PC, so I really wanted to be able to use Adobe Premiere, but I just could not get on with it. I really couldn't get on with it, and for that reason, an additional part of my setup, which is absolutely not necessary, is a MacBook. So what I do is when I record my footage from my screen or from the webcam or from the external microphone, it goes onto my Windows PC, which is where I store everything, and then when I'm ready to edit, I then transfer that data via an Ethernet onto my MacBook, where I can then edit using Final Cut Pro, which is my preferred personal editing software. I'm not saying it's the best, I'm not saying everyone is going to like it, but for me, it was my favorite when I tried out a couple. If you do want to transfer data from a PC onto a Mac, I'll leave a link to a video down in the description which really helped me out on how to do this, and take a look at that, and that will show you exactly the process that I use to be able to get data off a PC and onto a Mac machine. Now let's begin the edit. First thing you do is you import your files from your computer or from your Mac into the editing software. So the 3 files you're going to have the gameplay file, you're going to have a face cam file, and you're also going to have a commentary file. As you can see here, I put the gameplay as the main storyline, I put the face cam on top, and then I use my commentary underneath. And the first part of the edit that I do is use those 3 claps that I did at the very start of the video, and what that allows me to do is line up exactly the face cam video and the commentary audio. What you do is you scroll through, you can see exactly at the point where you clap your hands, and what the claps do is it creates a sharp waveform. So when I'm there just clapping my hands like this, if I line that up perfectly to the first waveform, the rest of the video is going to be absolutely perfectly in time. The next thing you'll need to do is line up the face cam, now that you've got your perfect audio going with it as well, to your gameplay. Now there's a couple of ways of doing this. Either look for a really distinct moment in the gameplay, like if you score a goal and celebrate, you know that is the exact time in the video that you scored the goal, or you can basically do the equivalent of the 3 claps but in a gameplay form. So if you're playing a first person shooter and you've got a gun in your hand, if you just press shoot, 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 or something along those lines, or go left, right on the menu, you can then time that so that you're saying left and right as you are using the controller. Now that everything is lined up, the first thing that I do is on Final Cut Pro, if you go into the effects under audio and gain, I put that on the audio file to increase the volume of my voice to the desired level. It's nothing worse than having a video where you've got, you know, some really nice footage, but you cannot hear the person speaking. So that's the first thing I do. You don't want to be too loud so it's distorting your voice, but you want to be loud enough so you're clear and people can hear you. A question that I've been asked a few times is, how do you get your face cam to overlay the gameplay footage? So as you'll see now, my face cam will be, you know, in one of the corners of the footage on screen, and the way that you do that is you press the transform button, as you can see up here, and you decrease the frame size of your face cam. And by doing that, you can then move it around, put it where you want on the screen, and that gives you that overlay so that people can watch the gameplay and your face cam at the same time. So this is the basics of how I set up my edit. Once I've done these things, once I've got it in time, once I've increased the volume of my voice, once I've got the face cam where I want it to be, then I can really start you know, cutting out the bits that I don't want to include and, you know, taking the edit from there. But that is really, you know, the basic setup of how I start my edit. Editing does take time to learn. It's not something you're going to pick up and you're immediately, you know, going to be editing a montage. It does take time, but the good news is no matter what bit of editing software you're using, no matter what you want to do, there is a tutorial out there to do it. If you just, you know, YouTube or Google absolutely anything from even the most basic functions of how to, you know, cut clips or move clips up to something really advanced, there is going to be a tutorial out there. But editing is one of those things that it just takes time. You know, you're not going to be able to pick it up straight away. It takes time, be patient, and it's something, as I said earlier, you've got to learn to enjoy, and that is really, you know, part of the creativity of making YouTube videos. So you've been working on your edit for a couple of hours, you've got everything nice and neat, maybe you've even put some music underneath as well, which you've maybe timed some of the gameplay to, or just something, you know, going on in the background. It's now basically time to render and finalize your video. Here are the settings that I use to render. I believe these are just the default settings on Final Cut Pro. There's nothing special going on here. You basically name the video what you want to name it, choose where you want it to be saved to, click save, and then let the render happen. And there you have it. After the video is rendered, you've now got a professional 1080p, lovely looking video which is ready to be put on YouTube. Pick a good title, write a good description, and also put some tags underneath of what you think your viewers are going to be searching for. An important part of any good video is a good thumbnail. You know, people see that thumbnail and that is what entices them to click on that video. So a good thumbnail is absolutely crucial. And again, you've got a couple of options here. This is either something you can tackle yourself and try and make it, or you can, you know, try and get a designer to do it. YouTube will give you some preset thumbnails based on the video itself, but really, unless you're, you know, doing something super exciting, you're skydiving over the Great Barrier Reef or something, you aren't going to really have any of these, you know, great preset thumbnails, you know. So as I say, there's a few ways of doing it. Either you can tackle it yourself or pay a designer. Designers don't usually charge a huge amount to do thumbnails, but if you're just starting out and you're planning on pumping out, you know, quite a lot of videos, this cost is seriously going to add up. But if you want to tackle it yourself, I would strongly recommend Adobe Photoshop. That's what I've used for a lot of my thumbnails. I have had a designer do one or two, but Photoshop, again, it's one of those things that takes time to learn. There's plenty of tutorials out there to do it, but if you can do it, you can save yourself some time and some money as well. So that's it. That concludes it. That is absolutely exactly how I make my YouTube videos, from what I use, how I use it, and how I edit, and then eventually upload the video. If you have any questions whatsoever, I'm extremely active in the comments with my viewers. If you leave a comment, I'll be sure to get back to you straight away. So if you have any questions whatsoever in the way that I do it, the way that I set things up, the way that I edit, leave a comment down below and I will do whatever I can to help you out. Also, if you did enjoy this, if you found this helpful in any way, I really would appreciate a like on the video. It really does help it to get it out there and spread this message. Again, it's something that when I was starting YouTube, I wish this video was out there because it would have saved me so much time. So as I say, if you can leave a like or even share it with someone who you think would benefit from this, go ahead and do that. Also, feel free to subscribe if you are new. Until next time, take it easy.